I'm sitting watching blood while it dries on my sleeve, thinking why does everyone I love die or just leave? And if I mean a thing, then why would you leave? My mind only sees the suicide side of things. At this point we can't relate if you ain't lost everything.
Okay, so what's up guys, welcome back to West Wild World. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be doing a bit different of a video. I've done this before, but I've got a lot more reptiles now. So we're going to be doing a full reptile tour of the snakes that I have in this snake shed. I have a few other animals in a quarantine setup, but that's not going to be featured in today's video. So basically what's going to happen is that I'm going to take out each and every snake, talk a little bit about them, and then just show you guys my collection. Because I've got a lot more snakes and a lot newer snakes, got rid of some. But yeah, I'll see you guys there. Okay, so first up is going to be this beautiful, beautiful Copperhead. One of the more well-known snakes in the venomous keeping world, because these are said to be one of the better starter venomous, because their venom isn't that potent, even though there have been recorded fatalities, and you do get a lot of handling experience when handling a big one like this. But they are native to North America. There's a bunch of different subspecies of them depending on the different colors and localities. Localities is basically just where they are found. I'm not too knowledgeable on them, so I'm not going to say what I think they are, but I think there's about 5 or 6 different subspecies of copperheads. I might be incorrect, but yeah, I think she is one of those subspecies because she is very lightly banded. Like that cream sort of color that you can see on those bands isn't a usual copperhead color. If you usually see a copperhead, they usually have those orange bands and then a darker band, not this white creamy band. But she's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely love her to bits. She has a potent hemotoxic venom similar to that of most North American species like the cottonmouth and most of the rattlers. So yeah, not a snake that you would want to get bit by, but can be potentially lethal. But usually not, but you would be in pain for about a week. It's not going to be a very fun bite. But yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so moving on from the best starter venomous to the best starter snake in general. This guy is a brown house snake that is native to South Africa. They are a colubrid, so in the same family as rat snakes, corn snakes, and things like that. And actually the Boomslang as well, which is a fun little fact for you guys. But these guys only get to about 1 meter long. This is an albino house snake. It is a morph. You can find them in the wild, but these guys are usually brown, as the name suggests. But these guys feed mainly on lizards, geckos, and small mammals in the wild. They are very good to have in your house because they are rodent control. So, it's basically, if you guys are afraid of snakes, would you rather have a whole colony of rats living in your house or one of these guys? And I know which one I would choose even if I was afraid of snakes, but they're absolutely gorgeous. They hardly ever refuse food, and they are very docile creatures, so they're very good for little kids. But before the parents that are watching this want to get their little kid a snake, these guys can live up to 20 years long. So it's not a 3-year deal. It's not like a little hamster or anything like that. These guys live for a very, very long time. They are cheap and their maintenance isn't that strenuous, but it is something that you do need to consider before ever getting one of these for your kids. But they're absolutely gorgeous animals. Okay, so next up is my baby red-tailed boa. Quite a good starter snake as well. Well, I mean, after your starter snake, he might bite my finger. Please don't. But yeah, why they aren't the best starter snakes is because these guys can get up to about 8 feet in length, and sometimes they are quite pissy, like this guy. He very much wants to take a bite out of me. But this is a red-tailed boa. Beautiful, beautiful animals found in South America. There's a lot of debate on what these guys are. There's BCIs and BCCs, which is basically just a scientific name for these guys. I don't really care. I got this guy as a donation, so he's just a beautiful animal. Need to do a lot more handling with him, because as you can see, as soon as I touch him, he turns around and he wants to bite something. He's a very, very grumpy animal, but the more handling and the more exposure he gets to me, the calmer you'll get. But again, they're non-venomous. Obviously, when they're 8 feet long, it's not going to be a very nice bite, and he's looking at my face. Even at this size, he's I mean, he will break skin. It's not going to be the worst thing that you ever experience in your life, but they have needle sharp teeth, recurved teeth in their mouth to catch their prey. But they're beautiful animals. Okay, so this is Noodle, a wild type or normal ball python. This is actually my girlfriend's snake, and it's because of her that I actually got into the reptile keeping and snakes in general. I always used to love snakes, but it was my girlfriend that showed me that it could actually keep them and, you know, make some money off of them. That's obviously not the main priority for me, but I would like to, you know, make a living off of what I love to do. But going back to the wild type thing, these guys are horrendously bred in captivity for morphs for just sole profit. I've seen people keep an adult like this, if you want to come look inside, in smaller tubs than those up top there, and it's like borderline animal cruelty. People sort of breed these guys just solely for profit. They might like reptiles, and then they just saw like, oh, these 6 gene animals are like magnificent, they go for like $200 each, and just stupid stuff like that. So not to mention the birth defects and the inbreeding that you would have to do to maintain these genes in captivity. Of course, all the morphs are cool and stuff like that, but how these people get them, I just don't ethically agree with. But yeah, it's a super cool animal. They are quite a good animal for starter reptile enthusiasts and stuff like that, because they're relatively easy to care for. But they do go on hunger strikes, so that's something that you do have to look out for. So personally, if your kid is interested in snakes in any way and they want to get a pet snake or a pet reptile, I would either go for a corn snake, a house snake, a colubrid like that, or even the next animal we're going to bring out, which is a little gecko. But she's absolutely gorgeous. You can check how docile most of these girls and guys are. She is a girl. She's absolutely gorgeous. She's a bit of a Down syndrome because she can't hold on, so if I'm actually not supporting her here, she would fall. But this is about as big as these ball pythons get. Only get to about 4 feet long, maybe even 6 foot if you get an extremely big one. And yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful animals. Absolutely gorgeous. Got to thank this girl for all these other reptiles behind me and my YouTube channel and things like that. So everyone say thanks, Noodle, if you enjoy the channel. She's absolutely gorgeous. Look at her. Okay, so this was the other little reptile that I was talking about. This is a crested gecko or eyelash gecko. Sorry if I'm shaking. But as you guys can see, why they're called a crested gecko or eyelash gecko is that they have little eyelashes on top of their eyes. They are super gorgeous. This is a morph, and these guys were actually once thought to be extinct in the wild in the 1960s or 1970s, I believe. And the pet trade has really helped these guys get their numbers back up because they are a very, very common pet. They are very easy to keep. But again, it is a good thing to get for your kid if they're interested in reptiles. I mean, most people, my parents absolutely hated snakes. So, I mean, this isn't so slimy as people would think or scary in any way. This is a very cute little animal that most people will get behind, especially with reptiles. She might jump. They are known for leap jumping. But yeah, so, they were thought to be extinct in the 1970s or 1960s and found again in the wild. And obviously the pet trade now, because they are such a common pet, and again, the morph breeding, I don't agree with morph breeding, but yeah, morph breeding and captive breeding has really brought these guys' numbers back. But yeah, as I was saying, they are a very, very good pet to get for young reptile enthusiasts. I mean, they can't really bite you. Their maintenance is very low. They, most of the time, don't even need a heating light or heating pad to survive, depending on your climate. Obviously, if it is a bit too cold, a heating light or a heating pad will help with their feeding response. But yeah, it's not something that you need to take lightly, though. Either these guys can live up to 15 years, so it is it's like a quarter of your life that you're going to have to be looking after these guys. So always keep that in mind if you're looking for pets for your kids and things like that. But they're absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous animals. I absolutely adore them. But this again is my girlfriend's gecko. She's absolutely gorgeous. She might look like she wants to jump, that's why I keep on moving her. But she's a stunning animal. Absolutely love her. Okay, so this is my neonate Gaboon viper, the snake that is known for the largest fangs and the largest venom yield of any snake on the planet. This is the West African Gaboon, Bitus rhinoceros. So if you can see on the front of his little thing there, he has 2 little developing horns. Right now he obviously is a neonate, only about 2 months old. so it's not developed yet, but the East Africans are a completely different species, and they basically have a teardrop underneath their eye. That differentiates them, obviously, for in captivity. In the wild, obviously, you would be on the complete opposite side of Africa. But yeah, they have a potent hemotoxic venom and a cytotoxic venom with a element of cardiotoxins in it, which would actually attack your heart. So this is not a snake that you want to get bit by. A lot of people take their disposition as, well, for granted actually, because these guys really don't want to take a tag out of anyone, but it's actually my least trustful snake. I don't like handling gaboons because they show little to no warning signs before they bite. Every single snake before they bite, they do show some sort of warning signs, but it is very difficult to read with these guys, and they are so lightning fast, it's actually ridiculous. I've seen a gaboon go double back on itself in a matter of seconds before you can even blink an eye. So these guys are really nothing to play around with. He's a beautiful little guy, and I don't want to stress him out too much, so I'm just going to get him back into his enclosure. Okay, so next up is also another non-venomous snake. This is a mole snake, also native to, I was about to say South America, South Africa. These guys are non-venomous, obviously by the name mole snake. They spend most of their time underground hunting moles and things like that. They're absolutely gorgeous. She is in her juvenile colors. As you can see, she has those dark spotches down her back. They will either go into this greeny sort of, they actually have a variety of colors. So they can go into this greeny sort of beige color. They can go into a creamy color. She might bite me. They can go into a pitch black color. They can even go into a brick red sort of color. But what's cool about these guys, please don't bite me, Sassy. We call her Sassy the snake because she is very, very sassy. But what's cool about these guys is they actually have sexual dimorphism, which means that males and females have differences between them in their dental structure. The males actually have specialized teeth for their specialized male combat, which most times just involves wrestling for most snakes during to prove dominance. But with the mole snakes, they actually bite each other and try and kill each other. Most of the mole snakes that you actually find in the wild have very, very nasty scars on them from other males. It's sort of like two knife wounds that just slash down you. They have very, very special teeth, especially because they can't really constrict their prey in narrow corridors where they would be hunting for moles. So they would actually have to bite and then basically squish them against the side of the walls of the tunnels. So they are very, very strong jaw power. You wouldn't want to take a bite from these guys when they're big, but they're absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous animals. Very pointy faces, often mistaken for Cape Cobras, where I am from, and mistakenly killed. But these guys are also like the brown house snakes. They are very, very good to have in your house because they are rodent control. A lot of people don't love moles, and I mean, if you have one of these guys, it'll take care of the moles for you. But I'm just going to get her back into her enclosure. Okay, so next up is going to be my shield nose cobra, which isn't actually a cobra. Maybe I can get him, well, her to stand up. Oh, she's boss. Supercharged today. But yeah, so this is called a shield nose cobra, obviously because of that big rostral scale on the front of its mouth. The rostral scale is obviously that big upturned scale at the front of the mouth that helps them sort of bulldoze their surroundings. They are fossorial species, so that means they live underground. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous animals. I actually think this is one of the better starter venomous snakes for people in South Africa because these guys are found in South Africa. There's no known fatalities from their bite. They do have a neurotoxic venom, so it's not that great if you get bitten by them, but it does teach you a lot of handling techniques because if I touch her tail, you can see how quickly she comes back at you. So it teaches you how to read these guys and read snakes in general. Most starter snakes, they advise, because you don't actually handle them, like the boreals, you just use a hook to get it out and things like that. But with this, you actually get some handling experience. But there she's showing a little bit off. So what she would do is she would stand up, spread a little bit of a hood, and bluff strike like that. Again, they spend most of their time underground, so you would hardly ever see these guys. And again, yeah, not true cobras. Still have a neurotoxic venom, front fixed fang, a lapid. So not something that you would want to get bit by. Probably ruin your evening, or maybe even 2 evenings. But it's a beautiful little snake. Absolutely love her. Okay, so this is my juvenile eastern green mamba. Beautiful, beautiful animal. We've been growing him up since about 20 centimeters, so just basically out of the egg. This is Dendroaspis angustupus, the eastern green mamba. Beautiful, beautiful animal. I think he's going through shed now, but again, he's about almost 60-70 centimeters long now, and I've been growing him up since a wee little baby. He's very, very sassy, and I also do believe he's a special locale of eastern green mambas, the Malawian locale, because he has red in between his scales instead of the normal black, and he also has a blue sort of racing stripe down his spine. It was going to be split into 2 different species, but I think the guy that was researching it passed away, so the research never went through. But yeah, so these guys have a potent neurotoxic venom, similar to the black mambas, just a little bit less potent. If tagged by one of these guys, it's said that you have about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to the hospital before you get into respiratory distress, which is basically you stop breathing on your own. So what neurotoxins do is they shut down your central nervous system, and you basically either have a heart attack, your heart stops pumping, or your diaphragm becomes paralyzed, so you stop breathing on your own. But yeah, they're beautiful little animals. Don't want to spend too much time with him because he's a very, very shy animal. I also have 2 big ones that you guys might have seen before, and a black mamba, but those are in quarantine, so I can't bring them out. But yeah, beautiful animals. Yeah. Okay, so this is my juvenile Boomslang. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous animal. Also been growing this guy up similar to the green mamba from a wee little baby. It's one of the snakes that I trust the least in my collection because he is a little finger hunter. I'll still free handle him, but you know, with their slow acting venom, so with Boomslangs, they have one of the most potent venoms, drop for drop, on the African continent, even more potent than that of a black mamba. But their venom is so slow acting that symptoms can sometimes only appear about 48 hours after the initial bite. So there have been instances where people have been bitten, gone to hospital, got all the checkups, blood work done, and they've been discharged, and within a day they have been found dead. So yeah, it's not something you guys would want to play with. They are usually very, very docile creatures, very, very reluctant to bite, but I've seen this guy wanting to hunt for fingers before, and it's just out of nowhere. He will just turn and try and chow on you, but he's absolutely gorgeous. This is the juvenile coloration. These guys are sexually dimorphic, so that means that the males and females have different colors, but as you guys can see, he has large green emerald eyes, so that's a clear indication that this is still a juvenile. They'll only get their adult colors when they are about a meter long, which would either, well, for this locality, it would either be black and yellow or black and blue. Obviously black on top, blue on the bottom, or black and white. And then that's for the males. For the females, there would either be a brown or gray sort of color, very dull sort of color. But he looks like he'll be a male because he hasn't lost the black on top of him, and he's going a bit white on his belly. So we'll see how he changes when he grows up. But check how gorgeous that guy is. One of the smallest venom yields, but one of the most potent venoms. Also a colubrid, which I mentioned earlier in the video, so he's actually rear-fanged. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous animal there. Okay, so next up we're going to be moving on from the small snakes to the bigger snakes. This is, well, I still have one small snake actually. This is a snouted cobra, the banded variation of the snouted cobra, Naya annulifera. These guys are found in southern Africa. They were split from the Egyptian cobra into 3 different distinct species. So it is these guys, the Nayahaya, which is Ohaja, which is the Egyptian cobra, and then there is Naya anchetes, which is the Anchetes cobra, which is basically very, very similar to this. They just have different scale counts. These guys have a potent neurotoxic and cytotoxic venom. So what that means is that it will produce pain, swelling, bruising, and as well as all the adverse neurological effects, which can kill you in as little as an hour. So these guys aren't anything to play around with. You see me handling it like it's nothing, like it's a little corn snake, but I've been with these guys since they were about 6 months old. So they've almost quadrupled in size since then, and I do know their temperament quite a lot. I do not trust them to crawl on me. One of the males I do, but this girl likes to take little sneaky bites. And yeah, so they are the second largest cobra in southern Africa, just behind that of the East African forest, getting about 2.4 meters in length. She's only about 1.8 meters, so she has a lot of growing to do. She's also only about 3 years old, so yeah, still has a lot of growing to do. And she's a bit wiry, but yeah. Gonna get my other normal snouted cobra out so you guys can see the difference, but I'll check you guys later. Okay, so this is the normal variety of Snouted cobra. They do come in different colorations, but this is the girl that I call Old Dickus. She's a very old female, and she was sitting so nicely now before I took her out, and now she's not. It's exactly the same snake, obviously just without the banded variation. She is about a 10-year-old snake, so I do want to be very careful with her. And if you guys can see, this purple stuff down her skin is actually just an antibiotic liquid. It's not really a cream, because she had a bit of scale rot. So when I first got her, she didn't, like the owner before me, didn't look after her, didn't take off the stuck shed. She had 3 layers of stuck eye caps on her. So yeah, I'm still treating her from that. So it's just to help her out, but she's not as calm as the banded ones that I have. She will take a bite out of me, no problem. So yeah, I still take the liberties of free handling her because it is actually very difficult to handle her with a hook. I mean, you can see that her lower third is almost the size of my forearm. I'm a big dude. Don't gym anymore, but I'm 2 meters tall, but she is a super special snake to me. You can see that her head's compared to my hand, like she is a big girl. Absolutely love her. But yeah, just to show you the difference, exactly the same snake. She's very gorgeous, but I don't want to take too many chances with her. Just going to get her back in the enclosure. Okay, so next up is the Mozambique spinning cobra, or Mfezi as the locals would like to call it. This guy is obviously a true spitting cobra, has a 90-degree angle at his fangs. It's modified fangs to allow him to project his venom up to 3 meters accurately, some studies would actually say. So yeah, their venom, if it gets in your eyes, it's not going to have any lasting damage if you actually wash out your eyes with literally any liquid that you actually have on hand. Do not rub your eyes if any venom does get into your eyes. Best thing is to do, even if it's urine, get your mate to piss on your face if it really needs to be done. But yeah, the only lasting thing that will actually happen to you is if you don't wash out that venom out of your eyes and keep it in. But obviously it would be intensely painful. And for about 2 or 3 days after. Sorry, just concentrating. But he has a potent cytotoxic and neurotoxic mix. They are known for actually going into people's beds and biting them when they're asleep, because this is a nocturnal species, so they will go into your bed either seeking warmth or seeking food, and when you turn over they get a fright and bite you. So there's a lot of cases that people have got bitten in their sleep by the snake, and it sort of has given them quite a negative reputation. But these guys aren't evil. As you can see, he wants absolutely nothing to do with me. He's not going out of his way to bite me. He hasn't even sprayed his venom once while he's out here. But yeah, a bite from this guy is potentially deadly and needs to be treated immediately if you get bit by one. But he's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so this is Old Half Hood, a Cape Cobra that was deemed unfit for release. I just got him in my possession about a week or 2 ago. As you can see, he is very skinny, and why we call him Old Half Hood is that he's spreading his hood there, but someone hit him on his hood there and on his back, causing severe injuries, broken ribs and stuff like that. But he's taking down food now. Hopefully he'll actually get a lot thicker. Obviously you guys can see the spine is showing, but he's taken down 4 meals with me now. So yeah, he's doing great. But yeah, this is a Cape Cobra, Western Cape locale, and this is one of the most dangerous snakes that we find locally around here. Some people say that this cobra's venom is actually more potent than the Eastern Cape Cobras and stuff like that. Drop for drop, apparently it's way more potent. These guys usually have quite a nasty disposition. You can see he just wants to chew and bite on everything, but that's just because of what he's gone through. See, quick tag, trying to go away from us. They're beautiful cobras, but I don't want to spend too much time with him because obviously he is an injured and sick snake. Not sick necessarily, but he is injured. So I do want to be very careful with him. Just thought I'd show him off. It's the first time I'm showing him off. He's a beautiful little cobra. Hopefully he does start to do a lot better. Again, has started to eat a lot more, and he's been a lot more active. He was very lethargic when he first came here. But a potent neurotoxic venom, and something that you would not want to get bit by. Will shut down your heart and your respiratory system in half an hour. It's a really potent bite. Okay, so next up is the landmine of South Africa, the snake with the widest distribution through the African continent, and that is the puff adder. You can check how beautiful this female puff adder is. She is a Limpopo locale. All puff adders, they haven't been split into different subspecies or anything like that. They're all the same species, they just split into different locales, which basically means they found in different places, obviously, and they're different colors. Our Western Cape puff adders will look a lot different to this female, and yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous animals. They have very long front hinge fangs. I actually have a fang up top here somewhere. I think it's disappeared. I can't remember where I put it. But I have a photo of one, so I'll put that in the video. Woo! Hello. So there you can see their defensive posture is that they will curve back in the S position and have their head ready to strike like that. She's been very upset lately, and she's letting me know by flattening out her body and doing that. But yeah, so what I was saying, they have huge front hinge fangs that sit in the top of their mouth, and when they strike, it actually... cameraman, just be careful. It actually comes out, it folds out, so they can actually have a lot bigger fangs than that of cobras. But they possess a potent cytotoxic venom and actually cause the most bites throughout all of Africa. That's not because these guys are aggressive or like out to hurt us or anything like that. It's just that their distribution is so large that they come into contact with humans so frequently that bites are bound to happen. Best thing to do if you see a snake, any snake, is basically just move at least 5 meters away, let the snake do what it wants to do. And if you live in a place with a local snake catcher and it's in your house or on your property, give them a call. It's probably the safest thing to do. If you try and kill the snake, it's obviously going to retaliate with violence. As you saw, I made a fast movement bending down, and the snake got a fright and it went instantly back because I thought it was its life was in danger. So you can see now that I'm out of strike range. It's still flattened out, it's still very wary of me, but if I were to walk away, the snake would either stay here or go on its merry way. It wouldn't come after me. A lot of people think snakes will actually chase them, but it's basically if a snake chooses a direction to escape and you in that direction, it will go past you. It doesn't want anything to do with you, it's not chasing you. It just saw an escape and that's the way that it wants to go, and it hardly ever changes its mind. So yeah, beautiful puff adder. I'm gonna get her back before she gets too pissed off with me, and yeah, I'll move on to the next snake.
Gotta love all creatures of all sizes. Beautiful. I think it's a bumblebee. I have no idea. I'm not an insect guy. I actually really hate creepy crawlies, but you know, my girlfriend loves them, so I deal with her. It is a cute animal, but I hate the feeling of those like 6 legs walking on you, but beautiful animal.
Okay, so in front of me I have my neotropical rattlesnake. Very, very beautiful animal. Also only about 6 months old. I've been growing him up since he came out of his mom. Rattlesnakes are live births, so that means that the babies actually become fully developed inside the mom. They still are sort of given birth inside of an egg sac that they still have to break out. They still get the egg tooth like most snakes do, but they go through their whole development inside their moms. But yeah, so he is a neotropical rattler, which is a South American rattlesnake that actually has a more neurotoxic venom than hemotoxic venom, which is very, very different from the North American rattlesnake species. So a bite from this guy, even at this size, would be very, very terrible without the antivenom. Has a very, very potent venom. But yeah, he's a beautiful, beautiful snake. Okay, so my Euro coin, as my girlfriend likes to call it, rattlesnake, is actually deep in the blue, so I don't want to mess up his shed. But basically, he possesses a potent neurotoxic venom, as well as a hemotoxin in his venom, but it's mainly neurotoxic. They are endemic to Venezuela, so that's pretty cool. What endemic means is that they're only found there. They were a very rare species in the pet trade, if you can call it that, because they were endemic to one location, but they are everywhere now. It's a very cool animal. It's one of my personal favorite rattlesnakes. So yeah, he's also one of the pissiest snakes that I own, so that's exactly why I didn't want to take him out, stress him out. But we will move on to a pretty cool snake next, brothers. Okay, so this is my Bothrops columbiensis, or Bothrops atrox. I got sold it as a Bothrops columbiensis. They are very, very closely related. And a lot of people debate about what is. I just don't really care. It's a Bothrops. It's a very, very cool animal. What a Bothrops is, the common name is usually fur-de-lance, because of the lance head shape. It looks like an arrow, its head. They have a very necrotic venom. And actually the main difference between the Bothrops atrox and the Bothrops columbiensis is not only location, but they actually have a very different venom. It's way too complicated for my tiny little brain to understand, but that's how I understand why they were split into two different species. So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful animal, similar to the golden lancehead, with the underbelly being very, very yellow, but on top it's more of a beige sort of green color. Also have to be very careful because you can swing around and tag me on the leg. These guys have a full body strike length, and with a 1.3 meter animal, you can guess you have to be 1.3 meters away to not be in strike range. So he can flip around very quickly back at me, so I'm always looking at his head. He's a pit viper. He has very, very sensitive heat pits on the front of his face to help him hunt and identify prey items and potential predators. He's an absolutely gorgeous animal. Not going to spend too long with him and just get him back into his enclosure.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the final snake of today's video, the banded West African forest cobra, my coup de grace, as you can say. Absolutely love this guy, but we're going to have a little bit of a dance battle in here because he is warm to the touch. So he is fired up. But you can see how beautiful he is. He's part of the biggest true cobra family, which is the forest cobras. They've been split into 5 different species, and this is obviously the banded West African forest cobra. Sorry that I am sort of having to dance around him. He's absolutely gorgeous though, if he would actually show us his hood. But he's in flight mode now. He can swing back at me very easily, and now he's apparently blind. He needs some glasses, but he's absolutely gorgeous. They have a potent neurotoxic and cytotoxic venom that will literally melt away your flesh. Again, largest true cobra on the planet, because a king cobra is not a true cobra. So this one actually isn't one of the largest. The Naya melanosea, the normal West African forest cobras, are the longest true cobras. They get up to about 3.2 meters. These guys have only been recorded to get up to about 2.7. So yeah, he still has a lot of growing to do. He's only 2 years old, and you can see how wiry he is. Absolute bastard. You can see why when snakes are super warm, they are supercharged, because they get their energy from external heat sources. They are endo or exo, I can't remember, thermic, which basically means that they are cold-blooded. But he's a beautiful, beautiful animal. They are semi-arboreal, that's why he can flip over his own body like it's nothing. And West Africans, he's just a bit too young to be confident in himself to just stand and sort of hood up. It's more so flighty at the moment, but West Africans are usually more of a fight than flight sort of species. But you can check how beautiful he is. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous animal. But thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. I hope you all did enjoy, especially the little dance that I have to do with this brother. Let's see if you'll show a little hood. I don't think so. I think he just wants to bite. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.